Chat with my dad about stuff he got up to when he was a kid and that.
Yeah.
Right, because he got up to loads of stuff, and every time I see him, he tells me something, and I think, it's like, why are you just telling me that now? It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Right? So,
I mean, to me, he's kind of like Ronnie Biggs or someone. He's just the most extraordinary kind of.
well, this happened, right?
character.
I can't remember. There was a delay yesterday. There was problems on the Paddington line, and he was saying, "Oh, trains aren't what they used to be."
Sure.
He said, I was looking.
They used to be horses, didn't they?
Well, he was looking in the booklet, and it was saying how you can have your bags collected if you want, but it costs you £5.
Yeah.
So that's outrageous.
Sure, of course.
Right, so he said that's the problem with this country. We've got good with computers and that, but when it comes to like getting service, it's gone out the window.
Yeah.
Right? So he said when I worked on the trains, and he was going on like this, that and the other. So I said, oh, I didn't know you worked on the trains. He said, yeah, when I was 18, right, it was his job to get the coal, right, and chuck it in the engine. Right. And one day he's in Grand Central Station in Manchester, which is now the GMX Centre.
Right.
Right. And that was like the main station. And he was in there. The fella who should have been sort of driving the train, right, he said, oh, I'm just nipping to the pub.
Sure.
So you just stay here, keep the engine topped up and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah.
For a quick getaway.
Yeah.
Right? So the fella goes in the pub, and my dad's in there, putting the coal on. He did his bacon and eggs on a little shovel.
Yeah, yeah.
And anyway, fella comes up. He says, right, can you move the train forward now?
Oh, blimey.
So he was like, oh. So he didn't want to say, oh, the fella's in the pub, because he'd know he'd say, what's he doing in the pub? He should be working, right? So he said, yeah, no problem. I'll sort it out. Right. So he puts it into gear or whatever you do on them trains.
Sure,
right?
puts it into first, yeah.
Starts going forward. Now, people who don't know about trains, something that I learned is if you're carrying a load of coal or whatever on the back of it, they don't have brakes on each carriage, right? It's only the engine that has brakes on it. So when you pull the brakes on the engine, the whole weight of what it's pulling is pushing you forward.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't realise this though, because he's just used to cooking bacon and eggs and chucking coal in.
Of course,
yeah.
Right? So you've got to slam the brakes on sooner than you would normally.
Yeah.
Well, you have to anticipate it, I suppose. Yeah.
But he didn't know that, so he's pulling in, he's thinking, right, I'll put the brakes on now.
Yeah.
Right? Puts the brakes on, the train just keeps going, he's going, oh god, it's not stopping.
Sure.
It ploughs right through the signal box. Right? Loads of damage.
Pulling the signals, don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Loads of damage done. Apparently, if it was today's money, it'd be about £3 to £4 million worth of damage. It shut the station off for 4 weeks. But he didn't lose his job. The fella had lost his job, the one who was in the pub.
Yeah.
He said the funny thing was, he said like £4 million worth of damage. He did his ankle, his wrist in. He had 3 weeks off sick and got paid. So it's brilliant. So
I love your family.
It's extraordinary. The Pilkinson gene.
weird, isn't it?
I'd like to see a documentary following you and your family. You'd have to get the family involved.
No, the sort of stuff my dad goes on about. We'd never put it on telly.
Blur?
Rockbusters clues again.
Yeah, go on.
We've had very few contributions so far, Carl. I think you've really started.
This might be it. I've told you, you're on thin ice. If this goes wrong, if it's rubbish, and if everyone doesn't get them all, that's the end of Rockbusters.
Right, well, the first one again, right?
Yeah.
If you go out to France, right, by boat, you might as well get your fags whilst you're on that, because you'll save a few quid. Right?
Different every time.
BF is the initials of the artist that little cryptic clue makes up. The second one, little foreign cafe, it's growing its own steak. Right? That's D. Little foreign cafe, it's growing its own steak. D. And the last one, if there was a Jamaican fella on the Titanic when it went down, he'd probably scream this. CD. Right? So email in ricky.gervais@xfm.co.uk.
Yeah,
right?
they're not flooding in, but yeah.
Well, we'll see how we do.
Carl, have we still got monkey news?
We've got monkey news coming up.
Now, you must be disappointed because you didn't make it to the monkey sanctuary, but you still managed to scrape together monkey news on your holiday.
Yeah.
That's
So I
impressive.
found some of that. We've got.
How do you get so many breaks and holidays? Because you went away with Suzanne's parents. You've just been away with your parents. That's a couple of weeks, 10 days. So that's probably about 3 weeks in all. You had that. You went to Manchester. You had that day off because your trousers were wet. I mean, and I suppose because you've only got one job, and I've got a lot more. This is just one of my jobs. But I mean, don't you ever count your blessings? Go, God, thank God, I can have time off. I don't work too hard. I'm not stressed too much.
No. It's just all to do with when you do work, do a lot. So I get a lot done.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I'm always doing stuff. I mean, even though when I was in Cornwall, right, I'm sat there on the grass.
I'd love to just sit on the grass.
You're too busy.
Chill out a little bit. I know, yeah. Well,
Me dad and Suzanne are playing crib, right? I'd sort of fallen out with them at
Your
that
dad
point.
and Suzanne are playing
Where'd you
crib.
fallen
Because
out
you do
with
live in
who?
the 1940s.
Yeah, where'd you fallen out?
Because with crib, have you ever played crib?
Yeah,
Right, you've got to be pretty good at maths.
sure.
You've got to make your cards add up to 15 and all.
Well, yeah. I was just gonna correct you on. You've got to be good at maths. Yeah. What? Algebra, quantum physics. What?
No, just adding up.
Adding up to 15. Brilliant.
I mean,
You can almost do it on your fingers.
You could in Cornwall.
But my dad's really good at maths, and like he said, how many have you got? And he always counts his, and it's like 15 2, 15 4, 15 6, 3 for your hat, 1 and all that. Do you know what I mean? He adds it up really
One
quick.
for his knob.
Right, so I was like, right, hang on a minute. And he goes, no, what do you mean, hang on? I don't know, what have you got? He says, oh, forget it. I said, this isn't fun if you're going to start getting all arsey with me.
Sure.
So,
Forget it.
Yeah.
I love it. But I'm sure I don't know him, but I'm sure he's just winding you up. His victory is you going, forget it, I'm not playing.
well, anyway, right, so it doesn't matter. I think I'll go off and do some prep, right?
Yes.
Do some research for Saturday. Found one of Suzanne's magazines, right? Flicking through, because there's always interesting stuff in there. There was something about swingers.
Right.
And I was like, what's all that about?
Yeah.
And it had an interview with some people talking about, how they sleep about a bit.
Yeah.
And I thought, if my wife looked like that, I probably would. Because there was a few pictures of them, and they were all pretty ugly.
Yes.
And I thought, right. So I took that in, soaked that up, thought, there you go. Carried on reading. There was a bit in there about how women still have crushes, right?
Yes.
And the woman was going on about how she's 38, right? But she still fancies Chris Martin from Coldplay.
Uh-huh.
And, even though it'll never happen, she's still got that little bit in her head
Yeah.
that thinks one day she'll leave Gwyneth, right? And end up with her, right?
Right.
Anyway, so I'm thinking this is a bit boring, but I'm flicking through it all. And,
Is this a Rockbusters clue?
no, right? And I read further on, right? And she said, I like to go out with my mates, and we come up with lists in pubs of people who they'd be nice to go out with. She also came up with a list of unlikely lust objects, I think she called them.
Yeah.
Guess who was in that list?
Ricky Gervais.
Think again.
Carl Pilkington.
Right? Next one.
Johnny Vegas.
Said, lanky co-writer.
Rubbish.
Lanky co-writer.
What do you mean lanky co-writer?
Well, do I need to say any more? He said,
Hang on, wait a minute. Let's not talk about... I don't know why you're laughing at my expense. I'm an unlikely lust object.
yeah,
But yeah, what was it called? The list?
the unlikely lost object.
Yes.
list. You were in there.
Who
Right?
else was?
Well, you weren't in there.
Richard Madeley,
Fine.
Yeah.
He's a good-looking guy.
Alistair Campbell.
Brilliant. Another handsome dude.
Hmm.
What you talking about? You think I'm ashamed or embarrassed about that? I'm proud of it. What magazine was it? I need to buy a couple of
Yeah,
copies.
it was.
Need to get a t-shirt made.
Yeah, and did she leave her number?
Yeah. What magazine was it? Just out of interest.
I think it's called Red.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But now you've dissed those people that have put themselves in their swingers because you've said they're ugly. So now we know what magazine it is. People are going to look at that. People are going to look at that poor woman, and they're going to know you think she's a hog.
No, but I think they even know.
Was there a picture of the
They
woman who
even
had
know.
drawn up the list of unlikely lust objects?
Mm.
What was she like?
I wouldn't waste my time.
Thanks, mate. I know you're on my side.
Thrills on XFM 104.9. I'm Ricky Gervais, with me Steve Merchant, object of unlikely lust object, Steve Merchant.
I'd like to have that now, prefixing my name everywhere I'm written about.
I know, yeah. Did he make the freak list?
Whoa!
Which is a different magazine, isn't it? And I'm joking, of course. Carl Pilkington, a man of sort of quiet dignity and and in a way, he's got his own sort of inner beauty, hasn't he, Carl?
Not really.
Don't you think?
Well, I'll tell you why I don't think it is, because the woman that wrote the piece, saying that I was an unlikely, you've offended her quite considerably.
What did he say?
I wouldn't waste my time, is what you said. She's repeated that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't waste my time, the flaming cheek. Although it's a horrible picture, I am, of course, in real life, a vision of loveliness. I'm not 38, I'm 25. I don't think Stephen's that unlikely lust object. A sense of humour is important, and he's welcome to my phone number if he wants it.
That sense of humour's important, that's a down,
Is she a swinger?
Stop it!
Don't have a go at the woman,
I'm messing about. She knows I'm messing about.
Well, how are you messing about?
I've told you this though, I've told you that anyone could be listening, haven't I? I've told you that before, things you say, but we encourage him, we say, what does she look like? But it's meant to be rhetorical. That was a joke, that was Stephen's joke, what does she look like? I.e. him joking, like, oh, I'll call her up because I'm on a list, and then you have to say that. I mean, that's what I mean. So chances are, if she likes Stephen, she hasn't seen him, she listens to the radio. So, the likelihood is that, she was listening to this show.
Yeah.
So, think.
Will I drop the thing I was going to do about Lisa Riley?
Well,
she's not listening.
Some people deserve it.
She's still at lunch.
What, from Tuesday? There's an all-you-can-eat place going out of business as we speak.
Oh, bloody hell, she's back, you killed me, I gotta do Bambino, please leave now! Please leave! So,
no, but she knows I was only messing. This
everyone knows you're only messing, we're all only messing. I hope we don't offend anyone of, any kind out there. We're only joking, aren't we, Carl? Yeah. Say something nice about her.
What can you remember of the picture that you could say was good? Maybe she was wearing some nice
clothes. Wasn't anything, to be honest. I'll have another look and have a look. I think she had a nice shirt on or something. Yeah.
Forthcoming single from British Sea Power, that's called Carry On.
I love it.
It's great.
It's fantastic. On XFM 104.9.
What do you make, Carl, of these people? I was reading a paper today. They've been queuing up for 12 hours last night for the new Harry Potter book.
Oh, God. Oh, God, it really annoys me. Everything, oh, God, it really annoys me.
But who has to... I mean, I know it's just a kind of willful sort of stubbornness.
I see adults reading it, Well,
I was up in Hampstead last night, and there's a Waterstones branch of that, and there were a couple of people outside queuing, waiting for it to open.
What do they look like?
Well, I mean...
They're like the ones that come out of Forbidden Planet on a Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, what do you expect? There was one guy, I mean, I don't mean to disrespect him, but he was a big bloater, wearing shorts, I don't want to see his big fleshy legs. He looked like John O'Coleman, if I'm not...
There's nothing wrong with John O'Coleman.
He wore a knapsack. They always seem to have knapsacks for some reason.
Well, they got old papers in there, haven't they?
Exactly.
Got a 9 year supply of
there was about 4 of them. There was a couple of women, a couple of guys. All looked basically the same. They were interchangeable. And,
they were there from him in a minute.
Yeah, I am the fat bloater with fleshy legs.
yeah. I recognise your description.
I like to read these books whilst listening to XFM of a Saturday.
Yeah. I was sort of watching them from where I was, and they must have been there for about an hour and a half. They're obviously strangers. Their common interest was Harry Potter. They were sort of chatting to each other for about an hour and a half. So as I'm leaving, I wander past them. An hour and a half in to them having met each other, the conversation is, all I heard was, well, of course, apparently she cried when she finished the last one. And I thought, they've not moved on. The conversation had not moved on.
No, they might have been talking about Dawn French, chocolate orange. By then.
Yeah.
I know she cried when she finished the last one once.
Yeah.
But
I've got no time for them. Pop into Walrus now.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, get it tomorrow, then you're going to get home at 1:30 and start reading it.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
So you can put it on the internet.
Oh, God.
Your opinions.
Oh, it annoys me.
It is extraordinary. The whole kind of Harry Potter phenomenon has passed me by.
I know. Well, good luck to her,
But you meet adults who are, you say, what are you doing? I'm just rereading Harry Potter. What, you couldn't follow it the first time?
Yeah. I mean, it's not her fault. You know, she
No,
made
but
£300 million by writing a few books for
I'm
her
sure they're
kids.
very good,
Well
yeah.
done. But I'm sure they. I mean, I'm not sure they're very good. But I haven't read them. I'm sure they're not. But no, I don't know.
Well,
I've no. I'm joking.
Well,
But
so
I've
you
no
write
idea.
a book about a little wizard.
With glasses.
Yeah, and make millions. It's so easy. If you think it's so easy, you do it.
You like him because you look a bit like him.
Well,
Wow.
you know.
I wonder if he's on a that wish list. That woman who emailed in. Why was she making a list of unlikely?
Can we leave this now?
No, but I mean, what was it? What was context? Was it? It was like, here's my top 10 weird-looking fellas that I do.
No.
What was it? No, but what was? She was talking about what? What was? She started talking about what? Body waxing. And went. And by the way, while I'm here, here's 10 blokes that I would if I had to, and they're a bit weird. You'll be surprised. What was the context?
I forgot.
He's scared to say anything now. He's scared to say anything. Oh, bless him.
I just was looking at a picture because I was attracted to it because she was good looking and that didn't read on. Alright?
Well done. That's got you out of that little mess.
Yeah.
Well done.
But, Harry Potter?
You can't be honest with it. Have you read them?
No, because the first time it came out, I was a bit confused, wasn't I? Because I thought it was
Of
about
course you
rabbit.
were. Yeah. Of course what? What?
This is a what? It's a book.
No, I got confused with the little rabbit. I thought it was her, didn't I? You talked about it when it first...
Beatrix Potter.
Yeah, I got mixed up with that, so I sort of missed out on the first one anyway.
You're just running around confused.
So it was like it was sort of too late to get into it, I think, after...
Yeah, it's too late now, yeah. It's impossible. Same with
it's just
Shakespeare, if you weren't around, the day he wrote the first ones, there's no point in going back.
But it's all the fuss that she's getting as well, like,
Well, I think it's because she's a British industry now, isn't she? I mean, it must have made, what, billions?
Well, it's the perfect success story. She writes a story for her children, and it becomes a worldwide phenomenon. You know, it's not cynical. It's just a great story.
Did your dad ever pop anything down in writing?
I'll tell you what, my mum wanted to do it.
Yeah.
There's been loads of things, little inventions she's come up with and that, but she's been too busy doing other stuff. But she used to come up with stories for me as a kid that I'm sure, if they came out, they'd be a success.
Yeah.
Go on.
Do you remember any of them?
There was one about a little red car. I can't remember how that ended. A kid who gets a dog, right? But it's quite an old dog.
This is going to be an episode of the Waltons, isn't it?
Right.
Go on.
And he's playing with the dog and that, but it starts getting a bit old. It's about 15 or whatever.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, it's rubbish, this dog. So,
I would love that one for kids. I would love that one. Tommy went, oh, Mummy, my dad's, oh no, kill it then. Kill it then. Shall I? Yeah, just throw it in the lake. I'll get you another one. Do you want a Nintendo? Yeah. Kick the rabbit to death then. Or no food for you.
oh,
Brilliant.
Come on.
Jump. Van Halen. On XFM 104.9. Right, come on, Carl, we've got a lot to fit in now. We've insulted a lot of people. Only about 25 minutes to go. We've got Monkey News, we've got Rockbusters. Have we got a cheeky figure of the week this week?
Could cram it in, see how we do.
Do we want to hear the end of Carl's story?
Yeah, what's
I really
the
wanna hear the end of your
kid,
story.
little Timmy and his 15-year-old dog Lucky got a bit bored with it.
Right, so he said, oh, Mum, you know, this dog's rubbish and that, I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
So she goes,
How old were you when your mum was telling you this story?
don't know, about 4.
Okay.
It wasn't last week on holiday.
Right, so she goes, oh, alright then, we'll get you another one.
Yeah.
She goes, brilliant.
What did you do with the old one?
Just kept it, but didn't sort of play with it or anything.
Just ostracised it.
Yeah.
From its own free will. Or curled up and died.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
So,
What's
so
he getting? What sort of dog?
I think it was a little baby, like Labrador.
Puppy.
Not puppy, yeah.
Yeah, Labrador.
Right.
Good one. Good choice for a second dog.
So,
Yeah.
so
I'm loving this story.
It's a great
I'm actually
story.
loving this story.
So,
Where does he live?
I don't know, it didn't matter. It was near a lake. Oh,
Well, that's when they're getting rid of all the
Yeah.
dogs. Sure.
Yeah.
We're getting, that'll make sense in a minute, right? So, so he's got the little dog, he's playing around with it, he's playing with its belly and stuff, he's thinking this is brilliant, best dog I've ever had, right? And the other dog sat in the corner looking all fed up, right? So,
I like this story.
so he says to his mum, right, I'm taking little puppy down the park.
Yeah.
And she goes, well,